Okay, welcome to Majesty's House of Music. I'm Emmanuel, and today I'm going to answer a simple question. Is it right for a musician to play in a club or in a secular environment and still play in church? Okay, now this is a very controversial topic. Now, there are musicians who would say, this is my career, this is my job, this is how I pay my bills, this is how I pay my rent. So if I just play in church alone, I'll not be able to meet my bills. So this is professional. So when I'm invited in a club somewhere and I play, over the night, I'm working so that I can pay my bills. Okay, that's one side of the argument. But I want us to look at it in a broad perspective. Like, number one, why are you playing music after all? What's your purpose in what you're doing? What's the reason? Why are you in this music engagement after all? Okay, is it just a hobby? Is it a ministry? Is it a job? Okay, you need to define the purpose as to why you are in the music arena, number one. So, if you define yourself as a gospel musician, meaning you consider yourself as an anointed minister, you consider yourself as a minister on the altar of God, then you have now to ask yourself, what are the guidelines of ministers? What are the principles that guide a minister who ministers on the altar as a musician? Okay, what does the Word of God say about that? Now, when you realize what the Word of God says about musicians and ministers on the altar, then you decide whether you want to abide with the guideline of the Scriptures. Okay. So today I'm going to address those of you who consider yourselves as gospel ministers, not just musicians who are doing this for money and as a hobby, but those of you who consider yourselves as gospel ministers, okay? So if you consider yourself as a gospel minister, the Word of God is very clear about fellowship, that we cannot have fellowship as musicians, we cannot have fellowship in the house of God and also have fellowship in the world. Now, I'm putting the issue about I'm doing this for money. How will I pay my bills if I don't do this? Now, that's aside. We want to look at the guiding principle in the Word of God. If we are ministers in the house of God, we cannot mix, or we cannot minister on the altar of God and also go and minister on another altar which is not a godly altar, right? That's plain and simple. Why? Because ministry is a spiritual engagement. Okay, you are a spirit being. Whatever you allow into your spirit is what you'll give out. So I cannot allow content that I know is not in line with the Word of God, content that will defile my spirit. On a Saturday night, I go into a club, play, make my money, and then on Sunday morning, I'm in church on the altar playing. Okay, whether I'm being paid by the church or not, that's out of the question. I'm talking about the spiritual angle of things, okay? Most of the time in secular environments, the environment there and the kind of setting there does not promote godliness. In most cases, does not promote godliness. I know sometimes you'll tell me, okay, we play in environments which are not in church, but there is no alcohol, there is nothing, but the kind of company that you are keeping, the other musicians that you are playing with, okay, will begin influencing you. For example, if you are a good pianist and you go in a secular gig and you play, and in the process you are playing with other musicians who are not Christians on the drums or on the guitars or anything, and they realize that you have a skill on the piano, what will they do? They'll tell you, okay, man, where do you play? You'll tell them, I just play in church, but I come here once in a while. But they realize you have talent, okay? And they'll want to tap your talent. You know what they'll do? They'll tell you, next weekend again we have this gig here and they are paying well, and they'll want to tap your talent. And within no time you realize that you have been influenced to go even to extremes that you did not want to go to because of the company that you're keeping. Those are not gospel musicians, they're not Christian musicians. But you want to make money and you begin keeping that kind of company, within no time, you are out of church. How many good musicians do we see who start playing music in church, but after some time we see them, they even backslid and they're no longer even coming to church because they began keeping company of musicians who are not godly, and they were influenced to play in those platforms because of the money. Now remember, you cannot serve God and mammon. you have to make a choice. But now, you ask me, okay, I'm a musician, I'm in church, what's the way out? Okay, how do I make money? How do I sustain myself and still play exclusively in church or exclusively in a godly environment without defiling my spirit or without putting myself in a compromising situation? Now, for example, I'll give you my classic example, okay? I have been doing this on a full-time basis here, doing these YouTube tutorials, and these are recording studio. You can see behind me the booth. Okay, we record gospel music, only gospel music. Okay, it's limiting, but let me tell you, if you want to play for God, if you want to serve God, you must be ready to sacrifice. Many clients come here with secular music and I tell them, no, I cannot produce that. I only produce gospel. Do I lose money? Yes, I lose money, and that's part of being a disciple. Okay, yeah, that's part of being a disciple. You must be ready to carry the cross and follow him. Now, another advice I could give you, if you don't have this facility, you're not blessed enough to have a studio or to do what I'm doing, get a job. Simple. Get a job. Get an office job. Do whatever you can to sustain yourself financially so that you don't put pressure on yourself to begin compromising on your calling as a musician, as a gospel musician. Okay, just get a job. Okay, get an 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or start a business, any other kind of business that can bring you money, but try to safeguard. You know what, in that process, what you'll be trying to do is protect your gift. Okay, how much do you value your calling? That's my question. How much do you value your salvation? Okay, how much do you value your salvation? Unfortunately, we see many good musicians who are playing in church. Now, I know by saying this, I'm really rubbing many shoulders, but it doesn't matter if I'm helping somebody. Many good musicians in church today, in major recordings, in major churches, are actually playing on secular platforms. And with time, you hear scandals, sexual scandals, alcohol scandals. You go play in a club, you get arrested, and we hear so-and-so is in jail or so got into certain trouble because of the environment that you put yourself into. If you value your life, if you value your salvation, you'll sacrifice whatever it takes. So the issue of money aside, I'm doing this to make money and to if I don't play in these platforms, how will I make money? Get a job. Just get a job and then grow your talent and use it to serve God. And then look at godly opportunities. Okay, look, can I save some money and start a studio, for example, a Christian studio where I can just do music for God? And apart from doing Christian music, there are other projects which are not really Christian that you can do. Commercial projects, adverts, okay, for companies, and many other recording jobs that you can do that will not compromise on your faith. You can do that. You can begin doing some piano trainings, okay? Talk to your church. Can they allow you to access the facilities? If you are playing in that church, ministering in that church, can they allow you to use the piano, the drums to do some lessons and charge your students for your lessons? Okay. Start a YouTube channel if you're confident enough. Start a YouTube channel. Post your lessons on YouTube. And you'll get some money when when you attain at least 1,000 subscribers, you can begin monetizing your videos and you'll get some money out of the views that you get. So depending on how good you are in your skill, you can make more money with that. Develop some piano courses and sell online, okay? Those are options, all right? Now, if you are in a church and your church is able to pay you as a musician, I know some churches will pay, some churches that don't pay. My church doesn't pay me a single shilling, but I play there every Tuesday, sometime on Tuesdays, on Wednesday for the choir, Thursday services, on Friday for practice, on Saturday for choir practice, on Sunday services, but I'm not paid, okay? But if your church does pay musicians, that's well and good, okay? That's another option for you, okay? But don't compromise on your faith in any way because of your talent, because of your skill. What happens to somebody who sees you playing, for example, in a club on Saturday night, and on Sunday they decide to go to church and they come there and they see you again on the pulpit, okay? They see you again on the pulpit playing. Will that affect their testimony? Will they think like, oh my goodness, I just saw this person in the club yesterday. Today morning I woke up, said, okay, today I need to seek God, I need to go to church. And then they come to church and they find you in church. Now they'll become confused. You're not becoming an effective witness of Christ. Okay, that's the point. So I'm talking to those people who are musicians and they are also concerned about their spiritual well-being. Okay, I know there are musicians who don't care so long as they make the money. For them it's just a job, it's just a business. But if it's not just a job, if it's not just about the money for you, okay, you need to put these things in consideration. So go get a job and invest in your skill. Look for opportunities, yes, that you can make money. I've given you some of the options using your skill, but don't compromise on your faith. I'm Emmanuel from Majesty's House of Music. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and see you in the next lesson.